Well, we're back at Evanston.
We're here a lot.
It's become our home away from home this summer, hasn't it? We were up here chasing the big boy, and as we mentioned, then on top of that, there's 2 train shows up here.
Right.
And this particular show is the FreemoN event that they do every 3 years up here. Evanston has restored the old Union Pacific roundhouse, and they use that for events.
Right. It is a beautiful building.
And what better thing to have in here than a train show?
Absolutely.
And one of the coolest things they have here is the FreemoN event every 3 years.
Wow.
And this is the world's largest modular meet.
That is huge.
It's just unbelievable.
Wow.
But this is such a huge facility, it can actually handle something like this. So people are coming from, 25, 30 of the states and bringing modules, all in N scale. It's just an N scale event, but it's N scale in 3 different standards. FreemoN, which is the large section here, but they also have N track and T track.
Wow, and here I was waiting to walk the corn maze.
This is better than a corn maze.
Oh, yeah.
It's more interesting. You came up with this idea?
Sort of. In 2021, we were kind of irritated that the National Train Show was canceled and the National N-Scale Convention was canceled. And so a group of friends and I got together and decided to host an event here in Evanston, Wyoming. So we rented the machine shop, and 120 days later we had an event for the FreemoN layout. So we had 56 people come from 28 different states, all bringing modules or coming to play. So we did that in 2021.
So how many modules?
We had at that event 299. Here we've got 435 FreemoN modules, plus I don't know the exact number on N-Track and T-Track, but there's well over 100 T-Track and probably closer to 60 or 70 N-Track modules here this time.
Wow. So what do you think in terms of track footage?
On the FreemoN layout, it's about 1,550 feet of track, about 50 miles, plus or minus. There's been a lot of changes the last week, so.
I wonder if there's ever been a Fremo event that size.
To my knowledge, I have designed and built the 5 largest FreemoN events over the last 10 years. And this one is by far the biggest. And in 2021 was the next one.
Keep raising your own bar there.
Well, in FreemoN, the substandard is raising the bar in N scale. So we'll do it again in 2027, 2030, 2033, and so on. So we'll do it here every 3 years.
Every 3 years. So people should plan on...
Yep. We'll have the public invited for about 4 hours on Saturday. The rest of the time you have to be a paid attendee to attend this event. So it's not generally open to the public. It's a show. It's an event for the modeler by the modeler. So we decided to do an event the way we want an event done.
It looks to me like you've just about outgrown that machine shop.
No.
No? You think you can still
I
put more in the
think
machine
that's
shop
all we
than-
want is about that much area. It's a lot to handle,
Okay.
a lot to plan. In a perfect world, I could get 2,600 linear feet of modules in there.
Wow.
But that won't ever happen. Because in FreemoN, you don't have to build 90-degree curves. You can build a 22 or a 30 or a 6 or a 48 or 192.
I talked to a bunch of the participants here, and they were saying that it took, on average, 4 hours
Oh,
to go completely around the railroad.
holy cow.
Because you have train meets at all these different sidings, and so you're waiting for another train coming the other way. Never mind 60 scale miles of track to cover.
Right.
So, yeah, 4 hours to go all the way around once.
You know, I could believe it, though. I'm always amazed at the layouts and how they're able to get them all to fit all together and work perfectly.
Well, and Fremo, it's an organic system.
Right.
So it just kind of goes here and it goes there. Most of these systems go around in a big circle, but Fremo just goes around like a tree branch.
Yes.
It follows some very rigid standards, but it doesn't use 90-degree corners, and you can have all kinds of different lengths of modules. It's just so organic. With these other standards, it's pretty easy to see how the thing's going to go together. With this, it's so organic You must use up a lot of pencil eraser figuring out how you're going to put this whole thing together.
I don't use any pencils or erasers. I'm a civil engineer by trade, and so everything's drafted to the nearest half an inch in AutoCAD. And there's columns in that building. There's 9 columns in that building that we have to avoid as well. And we've got 19 different power boxes that we try to hit so they land underneath a module, so we don't have to run power cords across walkways.
It was really interesting to see just exactly how they hook all this together electrically.
Goodness.
You don't think of that sort of thing, but with all these different modules, and they're using DCC with boosters, and they have to have a booster every so often, and so it all connects together, it all plugs into power, and of course, what could possibly go wrong?
If it were me connecting it a lot. Small fire.
So there was a lot of troubleshooting going on.
I want volts AC. Volts AC. Yeah, there were several places where folks had. We'll know right away. The stuff will activate over there on Lockhart when we see.
Is it
I heard
Christmas
motors
time?
go. You see a green light on my train order signal?
No, but I don't have a clear view of it right here.
I hear things. I hear stuff in here.
Just navigating, just walking around in there, I felt like I was in a corn maze.
You are.
Yeah.
It is a maze. You need a map. Unless you have the map in your head, which I do. So, and even I get lost sometimes. Where the heck am I? How do I get out of here?
These are really fun. These are cars from Katie, available in N-Scale, that are pre-weathered and even pre-tagged.
Well, good, because I wouldn't want to try to get a little tiny mouse with a spray paint can in there, but yeah.
What's the fascination with tagging railroad cars?
I don't know, but whatever you do, don't stand still for too long.
Yeah, you'll get tagged.
Exactly.
I hope they don't tag you in some not discreet place.
Exactly, your backyard.
It says cotton beat. And it's graffiti to be cotton beat.
That's just, I love the look. Cotton Pete.
You're gonna fit. You're gonna. When I get this back over, I want that. Yes. Actually asked for ours, but I'm gonna go for yours. You could park at the big station if you want. Park here. Let me go down.
We're at the train station.
You could park at the big station if you want. You gotta come over here. You could park at the big station if you want. You gotta come over here.
When I look at something like this, I wonder how many matchsticks that took.
Yeah, this is N scale.
Right.
It's easy to look at that and go, wow. But no, it's teeny tiny bits of wood. Yeah,
Yes.
like matchsticks.
Perfect.
But so many of these modules are so fun to look at. They're just so well built.
Yes.
There was a group of modules here that depicted the ocean,
What?
the coastline.
What? Look at that.
It's so beautifully done.
How?
As I understand it, it's done with toilet paper?
Come again?
Yeah, I tried to find the person who did this and couldn't find it, but everybody said, no, this is the toilet paper technique. You paint the ocean kind of a gray-blue color, and then you start layering thin layers of toilet paper on top of that are soaked in glue. And then you just kind of squish it around and pull it up into peaks and form the surf out of it.
I wonder if you could blow it with a straw too. That would make waves.
Yeah, that's a thought.
Uh-huh.
Ever since I heard about this technique, I've been dying to try it.
Oh, me too.
I just haven't found something that we're building where it would fit, but there is going to come a time.
Oh, yeah, somewhere.
I'm just dying to try this out.
Yes.
So this is your module.
It is. It's based around the DNR-GW Railroad Truss Bridge in the mouth of Provo Canyon. And so I went out at lunchtime and took measurements. And so everything's built to scale. Over 100 parts, 3D printed, brass, styrene, paper. Some of the paper, the nuts and the bolts are just laser cut paper, and all put together, probably over 100 hours. I wasn't going to do the water thing that goes across the top, but someone was explaining to me the history of it, and I thought, well, that's pretty unique. So since I'm modeling that anyway, so now it's pretty representative of the actual bridge there.
Wow.
And so this is at the mouth of the canyon, so I started doing the entrance to the canyon. And eventually I'm going to do the canyon, but that's a ways off.
It's an interesting piece of the canyon all the way up to where it's currently still running.
Yeah.
So that's fascinating, and it's great that the bridge is still there after all these years.
Yeah, well, it was moved twice. This is the third location.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I have on my thing, my cheat sheet, 1884 it was first built, and it was 3 pieces, 3 sections. And then in 1901, it was moved. And then 1919, where it is currently, it was shortened and just the single section, not all 3 sections. I built this 3 years ago for this event, because this event's every 3 years, and I hadn't done the water. I've read a lot about doing water and how to do it and been to clinics about it. I've never actually done it. So this is my first attempt, and I'm happy with the stage it's at, but I'm not happy with it's not final yet.
Hi, my name is John. I'm from a channel you may have heard of named TSG Multimedia, like this. Go watch it
And there's a live show.
there is?
I've called in.
Oh, that live show.
Yeah.
Every third Wednesday of the month, barring some unforeseen events, we do a live show called Talking Trains. So that's always a lot of fun. And otherwise, there's like 1,500 train videos or model trains or prototype trains or anything that has flanged wheels, videos on the channel. You'll enjoy it.
Sweet.
Thanks, Dale.
So, how'd you hear about this show?
Which one? Your show?
No, this show right here.
Oh, the Evanston?
Yeah, the Evanston.
I was here 3 years ago when they did this the first time, and there's a video about that on my channel. So if you search for Evanston FreemoN right here on YouTube, you'll find that show, and it'll give you an idea of what they did 3 years ago. It was very much like this, but a little bit smaller, but still a great event.
Sweet.
What else?
What else?
Do you have more questions? I mean, I'm standing here with a camera in my face. I'm not accustomed to this. I usually on the other side of the camera.
Meaning of life?
The meaning of trains.
Train.
Or if you're like my friend from Australia, trains.
Trains. Straight away and good day. In spite of these modules being N scale, when you get your nose right down in here, there's an incredible amount of detail.
Oh, no kidding.
Just beautiful, beautiful modules. And then so many of them. Mm-hmm. You can't see them all. There's just too many.
You get a lot of people that don't realize realize that running into a switch sorts the whole layout. You gotta watch your switch.
When you think about it, one of the big challenges is transporting all this stuff.
Kind of reminds me of my kids were toddlers and we have to bring a lot of stuff from home.
Yeah.
Wow.
And out in the parking lot, I mean, the show's not open to the public, but the parking lot was completely full.
Yeah.
With trailers.
I would imagine.
Because you've got people coming from hundreds, if not thousands of miles away, bringing all this stuff, and the system of choice is a trailer.
Yeah, you wouldn't want all that rattling around in the back seat of your car.
Now, the FreemoN modules are all here in the machine shop, but over in the actual roundhouse, they've got N-track and T-track modules.
Wow.
So it goes on and on and on forever.
And when you're outside, there's full-size trains going by besides.
Which occasionally includes a steam locomotive.
Oh, every now and again.
Yeah, every 5 years or so.
Yes.
So at this end of the roundhouse, they had the N-track modules set up. N-track's, I think, the oldest standard for modules that there is.
Right.
It's been around forever. It's a 3-track system. And there was a time when I was tempted. I almost, because I was doing N-scale back then, I thought, I'm going to build a module.
There you go.
And then in this area, they have the T-track, which is the same but different. It's all designed to sit on a tabletop.
T-track is an N-scale modular standard. If you look over here real quick, you can see some T-track modules. And our standard is basically for tabletop. Easy to transport, easy to get around. You can model anything you want as long as you follow the standard for the track and wiring options that are given on nrail.org. Is where we keep all the standards listed, and go there and check it out.
So the standard track alignment appears the same as, what was it, N-track from back in the day or something?
It is way different in that regard from N-track. Still a track standard. We use a 33 millimeter offset between the rails with double track, isolated with a red line and a yellow line, where N-track is a three-track system mostly. And then you have a mountain line you can add to. So their difference there, plus their height, we're on the tables. I think ours is easier to transport, smaller items, but you start to accumulate as you have smaller things. So in the end, it ends up being the same. I think we are running DC and DCC on our layout today. We're roughly 55 by 40 feet in dimension, running 3 legs off of a main spine. Our outside line, our red line, we have 8.1 scale miles of track running.
Some of these modules are much smaller than other modules.
Yes.
What's the difference there?
The difference in size of modules is what the modeler themselves want to build. This corner here is a standard 12-inch corner. If we flip around the camera here real quick, this corner here on this leg is what we'd call a standard 19-inch corner. So that's the size of the curves that we're using. Module sizes themselves will vary. This would be considered a double-sized module, so roughly 2 feet in length by the American standards versus the metric. Also double. You'll see singles around a 1 foot. Through this section here, those are all quads. So those are 4 feet sections that you built. You'll see triples. Going more than a quad gets to be a lot to handle and transport. So you usually don't see more than a quad. Doubles, singles, and some triples are regular.
I can see taking a single on an airplane with you.
Yes, you could. Some people have started to 3D print the frames, so they're a little bit more sturdy, and throwing them into a stronger plastic travel case, and it'll fit in an overhead bin. You might have to do a little bit of scenery touch-up when you land, but other than that, they will make it across the pond if need be.
Sweet.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Another fun aspect here is because people have come from all over the country, we're seeing railroads from all over the country.
Right.
Usually people like to model railroads that they're familiar with, but in this case, that's Western Maryland, Union Pacific, Amtrak, anything.
Right.
That was absolutely amazing.
Isn't that fun?
I'd heard about this show, but this was our first time.
Right.
And it did not disappoint. That's just amazing.
Yes.
And I always enjoy the drive up here.
Oh, yes, that's one of my favorite drives.
Well, if you're not a subscriber to the channel, please subscribe by clicking on the blue button. Zoink! Right there, the blue button. Well, we're not sure how you found this video on the internet. We hope you didn't find it boring, and we will see you here on Tuesday.
Right.
See you then.
See ya.
Bye-bye.
Bye.